This movie is 95 seconds long. It has moving characters, narration, original music, captions, and a cliffhanger. I made it on my gaming PC with zero video generation API spending, no rented cloud GPU. The delivered master contains no paid Sora footage. The machine is a 12GB RTX 5070. One rule governed it: if a game ran, production could not compete. Here is the result, the real process, every important failure, and the honest route from an experiment to something that might eventually earn money. First, the uncomfortable truth. A finished AI movie is not a business by itself, and YouTube advertising is not quick money. At the time of this recording, this channel has 10 subscribers, 270 lifetime views, and 38 published videos. Those numbers do not prove a revenue system. They prove that spraying more generic clips into the feed is not the answer. If you are under financial pressure, do not buy another model, do not run ads, and do not borrow money because someone promised passive income. The useful asset here is proof, a repeatable workflow, measured results, and an honest explanation that can help a specific viewer. The target is not $10,000 tomorrow. The first target is one real viewer, one useful click, and eventually one verified sale without pretending it already happened. The film is called Unit 7, The City Beneath the Roots. This is Part 2. Unit 7 discovers a buried city filled with machines wearing his face. Then the city reveals that humanity was not created by machines. Humanity was the memory machines could not survive. A rebellion locked those memories inside human bodies, and 1 million dormant minds begin to wake. In the final beat, one machine eye turns red and receives an order to kill Vessel Zero before she returns their pain. The story matters because the visuals needed continuity. This could not be 20 unrelated pictures with a voice pasted over them. It needed 11 connected shots, recurring characters, a controlled color language, narration that advanced the mystery, music that built pressure, readable captions, and a final image that asks the viewer to return. The movie is imperfect. Identity drifts, motion varies, and the generated source clips are smaller than the final frame. But it is an actual edited movie, not a slideshow labeled as one. The free local stack has 5 parts. WAN 2. 2 Ti2V 5 billion generates the moving shots. It supports text-to-video and image-to-video, which is essential for passing continuity forward. ComfyUI runs the generation graph and exposes a local API. Kokoro generates narration on the CPU without an API key. HyperFrames assembles footage, typography, transitions, captions, narration, and score into a deterministic timeline. FFmpeg verifies and encodes the final media. The WAN project uses an Apache 2.0 license and says it claims no rights over generated content, subject to lawful use in the license. That does not make every possible output safe. Prompts, brands, likenesses, music, and platform rules still matter. Here, the story, prompts, edit, score, and copy are original. When I say zero cost, I mean zero API and subscription spending for the delivered result. The PC and electricity are real costs, and I will not disguise them. The production method is simple enough to repeat. First, write the story as visual beats, not paragraphs. Every beat gets one visible action, one camera idea, one emotional turn, and one ending frame that can lead into the next shot. For this episode, each scene used a 480 by 832 canvas, 121 frames, 24 frames per second, 16 sampling steps, guidance at 5, and a saved seed. The first shot began with the final frame from part 1. After each scene completed, the automation extracted its last frame and fed that image into the next scene. A done marker was written only after the video, final frame, and contact sheet inspection existed. That marker makes the job resumable. If scene 6 fails or a game starts, the workflow does not throw away scenes 1 through 5. It continues from the last verified handoff. This is not glamorous, but reliable checkpoints are the difference between automation and an expensive loop that repeatedly loses its work. The gaming guard is deliberately conservative. Before ComfyUI starts, a script checks for known game processes and reads current GPU utilization. If any game is present or utilization is 35% or higher, production exits without touching the game. A watchdog continues checking while generation runs. If a game launches, the renderer stops ComfyUI, saves completed scene markers, and waits for another idle window. When production finishes, ComfyUI is shut down so its memory is released. The guard does not close a game, change its settings, or decide that low utilization means the player must be finished. A running game always wins. Right now, while this case study is being prepared, Armor Reforger is active. That is why narration and rendering are waiting. Background automation should respect the person using the machine, not treat the owner like an obstacle. Several things failed, and those failures are more useful than a perfect demo. The remote Sora test reached a billing hard limit before it created a usable video, so the paid route was removed from the delivered master. ComfyUI took long enough to initialize that an early caller timed out while the original process was still alive. A second launcher briefly started, so the workflow needed an exclusive log lock and process checks to prevent duplicate jobs. The first status report stayed stuck on blocked even after every scene and the final movie had completed. That was a handoff bug, successful production hidden behind stale metadata. Visual continuity also drifted. Feeding the last frame forward helps, but it does not guarantee identical faces, clothing, or spatial logic. The generated clips were 480 by 832, so the final 1080 by 1920 master is an edited delivery frame, not native generated resolution. Automation did not remove judgment. It moved judgment to prompts, checkpoints, contact sheets, caption timing, rights records, and final playback verification. Here are the actual production numbers. Episode 2 began generating its first local shot at 9:33 and 8 seconds in the evening. The 11th shot completed at 10:25 and 24 seconds. That is 52 minutes and 16 seconds for 11 5-second source clips, or about 4 minutes and 45 seconds per generated shot on average. Narration and the procedural score were created locally. The final HyperFrames master completed at 10:44. It runs 95.4 seconds, uses H.264 video at 1080 by 1920 and 30 frames per second, and contains stereo AAC audio at 48 kHz. The file is about 171 megabytes. Lint reported 0 errors and 0 warnings. Timeline inspection reported 0 errors and 0 warnings. FFmpeg decoded the entire file without an error, and the desktop copy matched the source SHA-256 hash. Those are receipts, not adjectives. Now the money question. Publishing the raw film alone is unlikely to solve anything, especially on a small channel about practical AI workflows. The stronger content is this case study. Show the finished proof, explain the stack, disclose the failures, and give the viewer something useful before asking for money. The first link below is a free 10 automation checklist. It opens directly as a PDF. There is no shortener, affiliate hop, or advertising redirect. The second link is an optional $19 Draft First AI workflow starter pack with editable prompts, guardrails, a workflow canvas, and a 10-run scorecard. You do not need the paid pack to use WAN, ComfyUI, Kokoro, HyperFrames, or FFmpeg. It is for viewers who want the planning templates. The channel should measure click-through rate, 30-second retention, average percentage viewed, offer clicks, and verified purchases. If nobody clicks, improve the promise. If people click but do not buy, improve the offer. Do not manufacture another 20 videos to hide weak evidence. So this is the honest result. 1 finished local AI movie, 11 connected generated shots, a game-safe production guard, 0 paid generation in the master, and no guarantee of income. The free checklist is the first link in the description. Use it to choose one recurring task, define the human review gate, and run a small test before you automate anything. The paid starter pack is there only if the editable system would save you time. Subscribe if you want the next build to include the exact continuity improvements and the performance numbers after this video has real viewers. I would rather show a small true result and improve it than sell a large imaginary one.